The creators of the much-loved EPC have been pumping out those little netbooks thick and fast, but one that certainly made us double take was the T91, Asus's tablet netbook, complete with 8.9-inch swivelling touchscreen. Now, we first saw it at CES, and if you haven't worked it out already, it's part netbook, part touchscreen tablet, which is great, but does mean it has a bit of a chunky physique. Now, we see netbooks all the time. In fact, there's a bit of a netbook overload at the minute, so we're going to jump straight into its touchscreen capabilities. Now, a button along the bottom of the bezel, or two icons on the XP desktop will bring you straight to the touchscreen user interface, which takes around 3 seconds, giving you enough time to swivel your screen and bring up the touchscreen user interface. So the screen itself supports multi-touch, so those pinching motions we've come to know and love, a la Apple's many offerings, will make web browsing and simple media tasks pretty easy. And if your fingers are a bit chunky or clumsy, there's a stylus which lives in the right edge of the computer to help you out with more intricate word-based tasks, such as writing a note or a memo. And if you find yourself missing the keyboard, just fire up the virtual one and get typing. Now, Asus have also bundled the T91 with their own custom user interfaces, collectively known as Touch Suite. Now, this includes TouchGate, which is a desktop which provides access to a range of commonly used apps such as Internet Radio, Internet Explorer, the editing suite and third-party apps. Now, annoyingly, only 5 icons can appear on the screen at any one time. In order to unlock the rest, you need to use a slider at the bottom of the screen. And on a second desktop, you'll find the TouchGate widget, which is for, you guessed it, widgets, such as access to iTunes, calendar, or stock information, should you require that kind of data. Now, it's arguable whether a feature like this is necessary or important or useful even, and it can be deemed a bit of a gimmick, so I guess it'll all be down to personal preference. Now, the touchscreen itself works really well, and getting access to each of the home pages is really easy. Now, some people may say the Windows XP OS ruins the touchscreen fun, but it generally responds well to both finger and stylus inputs, doesn't require direct pressure, just simple taps will do. And when you've had enough and want to bang on those keys, just swivel the screen back round to resume the more traditional netbook form factor. Now, given the touchscreen estate, the keyboard isn't capacious, but the good news is it is less of a headache to type on than some of the EPC models we have tried and tested in the past, although saying that hitting enter and shift key does take a considerable amount of accuracy. Now, joining the aforementioned specs, there's also optional built-in GPS and a TV tuner, so Asus are giving you the opportunity to save those pennies if features like that have no use to you whatsoever. You'll also find not one, but 2 card readers, one to grab all the content of, let's say, your digital camera, the other labelled disk expander, which will boost your computer by up to 16 gig. So clearly the T91 is not something you're going to want to house copious amounts of multimedia, because it simply won't be able to handle it. Now, finally, the T91 is nice and lightweight, weighing 960 grams, and it's probably the nicest thing to happen to the EPC family for quite some time. Well, apart from the seashell, that was pretty nice. So yes, it is a bit of a gimmick, but it offers you the best of both worlds in a not too shabby outer shell, and it's available now for around £450.